Hello, hello. Okay. This is um one of the one question reads for ChattyChatty. Miss ChattyChatty. I appreciate the fact that you ordered for two questions. You really didn't have to do that, but like one is just sort of extending the first one. You didn't have to do two, but I appreciate it because I'm just gonna be honest. People have been greedy as heck lately. Everybody wants the most out of me for the least. Like, I literally the other day had someone try, I shouldn't say this. Well, I'm gonna. I literally had someone contact me that a discount code they had wasn't working. And when I went to look, it absolutely was working, except they were trying to use a 50% discount and a 30% discount at the same time. Like, this is somebody who always is like, is that all that came through? Is that all that came through? Like, you were trying to get 80% off? Really? Anyway, okay. I appreciate it. You didn't have to do it. Thank you very much. Um, People don't understand that, there has to be an energy exchange, but whatever. Okay, so first, yes. Yes, I agree with you. And yes, that person did show up. See how simple that was? You didn't have to pay for a second question. So the next thing, let me try to explain my understanding of it. Because I had, of course, there's a train right now. I had a similar experience in one of my awakenings. I've had several. I wish I could say I had an awakening and everything became clear and I understood everything, but it didn't. It was like, okay, I awakened to these things. Oh, that train is loud. A few years later, I awakened to some other things, and blah, blah, blah. But in one of them, I had a certain person who was a public person crossover, had crossover recently, and they appeared. Why? Why do people say they see celebrities? Okay, my understanding is this. When you're going through some sort of an awakening like that, where you're starting to hear from spirit, see spirit, however it works for you, generally you will be visited from, hear from, however it works for you, from a relative of yours who crossed over, or a friend of yours who crossed over, someone you know, or a celebrity who has crossed over. Why? Because, sorry, that's so loud. When you're going through that, you feel a little crazy, right? I'm talking particularly when you're going through just understanding that you're being contacted by spirit, or whatever you want to call it. You feel crazy. You feel like there's no way this is happening. There's all these synchronicities that you're like, this can't be real, and you're seeing things, or you're hearing things, or you're, again, however it works for you. You feel like you're nuts already. So if the spirit of Joe Smith from Idaho shows up, it's not going to, you're just like, oh, I just had a random thought of a person. Where if grandma shows up, or the person you spoke of shows up, that kind of catches your attention more. Does that make sense? Like, I wouldn't, like, at least for me, it didn't turn out that that was like one of my guides or anything, but it was a certain celebrity who had crossed over that I knew of them. I wasn't like a fan. It's generally not someone like you're a fan of, but someone that you know of. Like I said, because you already feel sort of insane. So if you saw the spirit of a random person that you don't know, can't associate with anything, you just kind of like write it off as like, oh, I just had a random thought of some redheaded dude, whatever. And that is why so many people will say, when this started, such and such a celebrity came and gave me messages, and people are like, oh, I've heard that. I've literally heard, like, oh, why do they always say it's a celebrity? That's the reason. It has to be somebody that it will call your attention and not be like a random thought. I don't know how else to explain that. Like I said, if it was just some guy or some chick that you never met, never knew anything about, it would just am I explaining that right? You would just think it's a random thought, because again, the state you're in at that time is already so, like, I thought everything was, I thought I was gonna have to lock myself up in a home. I felt so crazy. Like, the signs and synchronicities were 24/7, nonstop. And so this certain spirit, I'm gonna get emotional, because this certain spirit really helped me through that. And I have not had contact with them since, and it's kind of sad. And maybe now he'll show up. But anyway, that is my understanding why it's usually like a relative or a friend or a celebrity, just someone you know or know of, and will not just write it off as some random thing you think you saw. Does that make sense? Okay, so that is it for that one. Now, okay, this is the code word or whatever. It is BC43NY. Okay. Okay, let me say, the first thing is I feel actually several groups. And again, this is a common theme. And again, it plays out separately for everyone, but it's a common theme, common lessons, common spirit removing people from your life, blah, blah, blah. But I feel several groups that are, okay, let me just say, first, there is what feels like a male energy. Man, I don't like this person's energy. They're so, like, they cannot regulate their emotions. Oh my gosh. I feel like they take offense and flip out to everything. Angry, always angry. Ah. You can do, how can I say this? You can do something like, seemingly of no consequence. Like, okay, say you're grocery shopping and you go to grab something and they're like, well, if you get this, you get more for your money. You're like, no, I only need one. And they will like take it as an insult. I was just trying to help you, and like will freak out. Like, I don't know why I just got that example, but like, the second you don't absolutely agree with them or what they say, they're super unregulated, and I just see like steam coming out of their ears, and you're like, oh my god, I only wanted like one bottle of water. I don't need a 6-pack, like that. Okay, so I feel that energy. Then connected to, but also separate, is what I think is a feminine energy, but they're sort of masculine too, if that makes sense. And this person feels like they can hold a grudge, boy, but like secretly. So like, again, you could do something completely innocent, but they feel slighted. They won't say anything to you, but now they're like out for revenge, right? And you didn't even know you did anything. Now, how am I going to explain this? So these two feel like they work together, but also work separately. And the masculine energy has people around him. The feminine energy has people around her. And they work together, but they also secretly work separately. And hopefully that makes sense to you. Then, another group I feel feels more like maybe family or friends, like people that are actually in your inner circle or were. I'm being compelled to say were. Maybe you're not so close anymore, and maybe that's why they're angry. Then a third one, I feel more like work related, or like say, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Say you're in the same field as a group of people. Okay, say like you work at I don't know, like an advertising agency, something like that. And maybe you work in teams, right? I don't know that. That's just what I've seen on TV. So So say you're on one team and there's this group that's this other team, and where it should be like, you know, not rivalry, but maybe you do compete a little, but it's not supposed to be like we want to bring each other down. You know what I mean? You work for the same company, you're just different teams. So yeah, you're different teams, but like the goal should be the company, right? Or at least that's how you feel. But this other group, this other team, just as an example, I feel like some group thinks you're better at some kind of career or job or something. And this is why this group is upset. You're not, trust me, you're not the only one with different groups. Like, this is a thing going on right now. So anybody you see with darker energy, it's, but yeah, that's why I get the heaviest. It's like 3 groups, but then that one group with the guy that can't regulate his emotions and the girl that can hold a grudge, yeah, they are also 2 groups. Like, they're one group, but they're also 2 groups. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. But also I have to say, there's something about having a conversation with someone, not in any of these groups, someone you don't know them well, but you talk when you see each other. And there's some kind of conversation where you're gonna like talk about, I don't know, it's like you're gonna, I don't know how to say this either, it's hard. You're gonna find some kind of common ground where like, okay, so you'll be talking and maybe talking about like things you're going through or things they're going through or something. And you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I went through that too, or oh my gosh, I know those people too, or like something like that. And it's gonna help you both like figure out things that are happening to you, because you're gonna be going through the same thing or know the people that are doing this, or like like say okay, say somebody in this group is like hacking your phone or hacking an account or something, just as an example again, and say like you have an idea who it is and you mention that, and this person's gonna be like, oh my gosh, that person did the same thing to me, or you know what I mean, something like that. Some kind of common ground you're gonna have that's gonna like actually help both of you in what you're going through, figuring it out and doing something about it. And I don't know why I'm seeing excuse me, I'm seeing tarot cards. Like somebody's a reader maybe. Maybe this person is a reader, or you read tarot. It's not me. I'm not the one. It's not, I don't. No offense to anybody that does tarot. I just don't work with tarot. It slows me down. I wish I could, but I just don't. So it's not me, because I'm specifically seeing somebody laying out cards. And so like, okay, so like you and this person find common ground. You're going through the same thing or dealing with the same people or something, and one of you does tarot. So you're gonna pull cards, and it feels like whichever of you does this, it's going to make more sense because you're going through the same thing. It's like okay, so like if I get a message about, I don't know, somebody being a star football player. I know nothing about football, so like the messages won't make as much sense to me, so I can just pass along what I get. I can't explain it, you know what I mean? Where if you're coming to me and I'm like, oh, you're an empath, well, I can tell you all about that, something like that, like because they know these people, or because they've been through the situation, the messages make more sense to them. They can clarify it better, something like that. I hope that makes sense to you. Obviously, if not, reach out and I'll see what we can do. But that's what I'm getting. The 3 groups, but the one group that is also 2 groups, right? The guy with the crazy emotions and the girl with the holding a grudge. They split up into 2 groups, but they're one group. Then something like family or friends, and something about like doing the same job or something like that. And then this person comes along, you're having a conversation, you both either know the same people or you're going through the same thing, and then one of you pulls cards on it, and you get all the like all the clarity you need. Like, I just see it, like everything falls in line. Like, oh my gosh, that explains this, that explains that, and now I know who did this, and like you're gonna get the clarity, and you're gonna figure out what to do about it. Yeah, that's all. That's all I got. Okay. All right. Sending you guys positive energy.